Greetings. I am, as always, Mr. Grimreaper with the one and only Dark Knight 987, and welcome to another edition of Ripped from the Silverscreen. Tonight, on this Devil's Night, me and Knight are going to review the 2002 sequel to Blade. This is our review for Blade 2.
Oh yeah.
This film was directed once again by Guillermo del Toro. It was written by David S. Goyer. It's based on the original comic by Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan. And this film stars the legendary Wesley Snipes, Chris Christopherson, Ron Perlman, Lenore Varela, Norman Reedus, and Luke Goss. And so we're going to talk about this. The second of the two films.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that. Next year we will talk about the final Blade, which is Blade Trinity. Yeah, because.
And yes, we already know Triple H is in there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So let us partake and talk about Blade 2. So here we go. Oh, and I got something to say about Martin Scorsese talking shit about Marvel movies, saying that they're not fucking cinema. I got a little rant about that during this review, so I'll talk about that in a minute. In 1999, 2 years after the events of the first Blade, Blade has been searching in Prague to find his mentor Abraham Whistler, who I thought died in the first one.
That's what I thought too until I saw this one.
Who was thought to have died after being attacked by Deacon Frost and his vampire pack, but instead was turned into a vampire. Blade discovers Whistler being held at a vampire safe house inside an amniotic-like tube. After returning to their headquarters, Blade gives Whistler an antivirus vampire serum to revert him back to human. Blade's new weapons creator, Scud, played by the guy who plays Daryl on The Walking Dead, Norman Reedus, expresses doubts in Whistler becoming human again. Unbeknownst to Blade, a pandemic known as the Reaper virus has spread through the vampire community. Infected vampires are being turned into Reapers. Ooh. My family. A mutation of vampires immune to all vampire weaknesses, with the exception of ultraviolet light, who kill humans and turn any vampires they feed into more Reapers. Oh, my family's coming together. I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm Mr. Grimreaper from too. What do you expect? Reaper's in my name. Unable to contain the Reapers, vampire lord Eli Damaskinos sends two emissaries, Assad and his daughter Nisa, to seek Blade's assistance. Damaskinos and his human familiar lord Carl Conan explained that a vampire named Jared Nomak became infected with the Reaper virus and is purposely feeding on other vampires, resulting in the outbreak of the virus. Damaskinos warns Blade that after Nomak is done feeding on vampires, he will begin to feed on humans. Blade reluctantly but cautiously agrees to help. Assad then introduces Blade and his group to the Blood Pack, led by a complete asshole. Yeah, a group of vampires trained for the sole purpose of killing Blade. In addition to Assad and Nisa, the Blood Pack consists of Reinhardt, played by Ron Perlman, Chupa, Snowman, Verlaine and her lover, Lighthammer, and Priest. To keep them in line, and after Reinhardt's racially charged remark, because he's a fucking asshole, Blade humiliates Reinhardt and plants an explosive charge on the back of Reinhardt's neck. Oh, that's going to come into play later on during this review. Trust me.
Oh yes, it will.
On Blade's advice, the team starts by investigating one of the largest nightclubs in the city called the House of Pain, frequented by vampires. They encounter the Reapers and discover their weapons are completely ineffective. Snowman spots successfully and attacks a Reaper, excuse me. um, while Priest is ambushed and bitten by another Reaper, Nomak arrives and holds Nisa hostage. Blade and Nomak fight, and revealing Nomak is just as strong as Blade and has the ability to quickly heal from silver nitrate. The fight ends with Nomak gaining the upper hand on Blade, but a burst of sunlight reflects off of Blade's sword, burning Nomak. Blade is forced to kill Priest after he becomes infected. Lighthammer is wounded and infected. Whistler deserts his post, and Scud barely survives a Reaper attack by using UV lights to scare them off. Whistler reveals that he followed a Reaper lagging behind and discovered it trapped at a large sewer entrance. The group takes the lone Reaper back to the safe house for further observation. They forgot to mention that Nomak told Whistler something in his ear. There's a particular scene on that, if you watch the movie.
Yeah.
After the Reaper dies from thirst, the dissection of its corpse reveals that most Reapers tend to burn out within 12 hours if they do not feed, as well as having an additional layer of bone which protects the front of the heart, leaving sides of the heart unprotected, but the Reapers are still vulnerable to sunlight. Having learned of this prime weakness, Whistler and Scud create UV projectors for the team. Blade states that their best edge is to search for the Reaper nest in the sewer at dawn, placing the entire blood pack at risk. Yee. While searching for the nest, Lighthammer succumbs to the infection, killing Snowman and chasing Verlaine up a manhole ladder before both die of light exposure when Verlaine removes the manhole cover. Okay. Okay, before I go any further, how come you couldn't deal with the problem? You couldn't deal with Lighthammer being infected? Like, you could have killed the son of a bitch. Like, cut the motherfucker's head off, and that would have been the end of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
Chupa turns on Whistler and attacks him, only to die when a group of Reapers attracted to his scent tear him apart. Assad is ambushed, dragged underwater, and killed. While attempting to escape, Whistler is stopped by Nomak, who reveals information about Damaskinos and gives him a royal seal ring. Oh, they didn't. Oh, okay. Never mind.
There it is.
Using a special UV emitter bomb pack, Blade kills all the Reapers, with the exception of Nomak, and rescues Reinhardt and Nisa, but is betrayed by Damaskinos and his people, who stun Blade unconscious. So we're back to this shit again. Okay. After Damaskinos' betrayal, because he's a dumbass, he reveals that he created the Reaper virus in order to create a new race of vampires based on Blade, and that Nomak was simply a failed experiment. Whistler rebuts Damaskinos' lies by throwing the royal seal ring at his feet, demanding the full truth. A confused Nisa picks up the ring, and Damaskinos confirms that Nomak is in fact his son.
Oh, God.
Jesus. Scud reveals himself to be a fucking asshole working for Damaskinos, who also works with Reinhardt because they're both dickheads. Blade turns the table on Scud, saying he always knew of Scud's true allegiance, and kills him with the explosive charge he had earlier placed on Reinhardt. Damaskinos then orders his scientists to dissect Blade so they can learn how to replicate his abilities. Nisa confronts Damaskinos about his lies to her regarding Nomak and the Blood Pack. Damaskinos states that for the survival of the vampire race, he is willing to sacrifice everything, including his own family. That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, for real.
After escaping his captors, Whistler brings Blade to a blood pool where he regains enough strength to kill Reinhardt and his men. and does a pretty cool fucking suplex during that part too. Nisa and Damaskinos attempt to escape, but Nisa locks the exit door, preventing Damaskinos from escaping while Nomak catches up to them. Seeking revenge, Nomak tracks Damaskinos to his private heliport and kills him. Nisa then offers herself to Nomak to be bitten. He infects Nisa with the virus while drinking her blood. Blade confronts Nomak and a ferocious battle begins. With a now broken sword, Blade stabs it through the heart, through the side of Nomak's chest, and into his bone-protected heart, slipping through the bone plates on the side. Nomak then commits suicide to end his suffering by shoving the sword all the way into his wounded heart. Fulfilling Nisa's dying wish, Blade takes her outside where she dies while watching the sun rise before she can fully change. The movie ends with Blade in London, where he kills Rush, the same dickhead that we saw at the beginning of the movie, a vampire he encountered earlier on, as I said. So, yeah. So let us talk about Blade 2. There is some stuff I love this movie. And I kind of see why people said that this was really, really stupid. Kind of, not really. But I get why people said that this is completely dumb, but it was still a good movie. I still liked it. I like the fight scenes. There's two particular fight scenes that I like in this movie, and they both regard Nomak. If you guys remember the ending fight scene with both him and Blade, and also the fight scene at the sort of like at the second part of the movie, when they're fighting in that, it looked like an abandoned church that they're fighting in.
Yeah.
I like that part. But what did you think of Blade 2, man?
I thought it was good too. And the part that got me was Whistler was still alive.
Yeah.
Because in the first one he was attacked by Frost and his group, and then we thought that as Blade's walking away, you hear the gunshot. In the first one, Blade's walking away, we thought Whistler was dead. That's what I thought. And then when I see that in part 2 that what? He's brought back? My gosh.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. But yeah, I thought Blade 2 was a good movie. I love the action in it, and stuff like that. I remember at first being freaked out by Blade, but I wouldn't learn it wasn't so bad. It was actually really good.
Yeah.
And the one line that I was fixing in my head was, I think after the club scene or whatever they're going through for the the vampire stuff, I think the guy can you can smell when enemies are coming, and he says,
yeah.
So that scene really, that line has stuck with me since I saw that movie. So I really enjoyed Blade 2. I know people thought it was, but you know what? I thought it was good.
Yeah. What did you think of Nomak? I thought Nomak was the perfect fucking villain.
Oh yeah.
For
no offense to Deacon Frost, even though he was kind of fucking crazy, but Nomak, oh my gosh, yeah, good going. I mean, I think Blade never encountered this kind of species of vampire before. You know what I'm saying? So the way they open their mouth, the way they look, oh my gosh, I remember that kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, so I think this is what I thought about the only person in the Blood Pack that I hated in this movie was Reinhardt. He was a fucking asshole.
That's big, dude. Seriously.
And then you come to find out that Scud turns out to be a complete jackass too. So.
Yeah.
But I don't think Nomak should have been the original. I figured out. I think that the person that was really the fucking villain in this movie was Damaskinos. Damasceno, because he is a piece of shit in this
Oh
movie
yeah,
for
yeah.
what he did. Um, but but I liked everyone in the Blood Pack except Reinhardt,
Yeah.
because Reinhardt was a dickhead. Damascenos was a dickhead. Scud was a dickhead. I knew that Scud was a dickhead the first moment I laid eyes on the fucking asshole. Um, and I was so happy that Blade kicked his teeth down his fucking throat.
Oh, without a doubt,
Um,
dude.
but there is a part in this. There was a part in this movie I love how Blade, his fighting style consists of kung fu and professional wrestling. And the reason why I say professional wrestling is because he does a fucking suplex on someone in this movie.
Yes, I remember that.
And
Oh my
it was fucking awesome. I love this fucking movie. I don't care what anybody else says. I think that Blade 2 was really, really fucking good. And I think me and Grim would agree. Excuse me, me and Knight, excuse me. I'm Grim, sorry.
Okay, good.
Um, Me and Knight would agree. This movie gets out of 10 out of 10. Just like the first one did.
And straight.
And, but yeah. Uh, but yeah, now that I have y'all guys here while I'm at it, while I'm talking about a Marvel movie, I want to talk about before I get into before I go and all that. I just want to get into something that pisses me off that I heard about a few weeks back. Of course, you guys know that Martin Scorsese, who I have talked about numerous times on this fucking channel, came out and said that Marvel movies are not cinema. And not to mention the fact that Francis Ford Coppola, who I talked about on this channel a lot too, seems to have the same idea too, that these movies are not cinema. Let me tell you something about fucking cinema, about real movies. Marvel films are cinema.
Yes,
And
they
I'll
are.
tell you why. Films are supposed to make you emotional. Films are supposed to have story. Films are supposed to make you think. Films are supposed to do those three particular things. What do Marvel movies do? They do those particular things. Don't fucking sit there and tell me that Marvel films are not cinema.
They are.
I'm going to tell you something. The comics, see, the movies have social commentary in them. They talk about different topics, shitloads of topics in Marvel films. These movies are about the hero trying to fight back evil, trying to fight back. Isn't that what movies are about?
Yep.
About feeling emotional about the stuff, about being about whether or not the hero is gonna come out of it or not. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you two motherfuckers this. Martin Scorsese, and I'm gonna tell you something. This Martin Scorsese, back in the old days, the old codgers that used to have films, they talked a lot of shit about Martin Scorsese and about Francis Ford Coppola and about all these other directors. People told George Lucas that Star Wars wasn't gonna be shit. Look at what Star Wars has become now.
Yeah, look at it now.
People told Steven Spielberg, "Hey, your the Indiana Jones or any of these other movies, they're not going to be goddamn nothing. They're going to be nothing." And look at the legacy that those films have left.
Yeah.
Don't fucking sit there and say, "Oh, Marvel movies are just roller coaster rides." First things first, this dude hasn't even seen one fucking Marvel film to say anything.
Yeah.
And he wants to be ignorant. These people want to be ignorant. And sit there and just act like assholes and act like pricks. And say that these movies are not cinema. Don't fucking sit there and say that.
Yeah, for real.
Because I know for a fact that Francis Ford Coppola was getting shit from critics too back in the day, saying, oh, the Godfather trilogy wouldn't be shit. Any of your films wouldn't be a goddamn nothing. So don't sit there and say a fucking word about Marvel at all.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and say a goddamn word about that, because that's bullshit. But what is your thoughts on that situation, man?
You know, it is bullshit. Marvel is, okay, superhero, that's basically what a movie is. Basically, sometimes movies have a hero battling a villain. That's what Marvel is. In Marvel comics, let me tell you something. We see the characters in the comics when you read the comics, but then when it comes to the movies, they bring them to life. It brings them out of the book, and it tells you a more good story of hero versus villain. I mean, look at all the Spider-Man films. I mean, just look at all of that. I mean, it is cinema. It tells a story just like a comic book. Only you're watching the action. You're watching the movie. It brings those characters to life. That's what. And yeah, so it is cinema. I don't want to hear people saying it's not. It is.
Look at what DC's doing right now. Look at what Marvel is doing right now. Look at what those two properties are doing right now as far as films are concerned. As far as animated films are concerned, comics. Look at how far down the rabbit hole Marvel and DC have gone. On HBO right now, Watchmen is the best watched show right now on HBO.
Yeah.
The television adaptation of The Watchmen is the #1 fucking show on HBO right now. So don't fucking tell me that comic book movies are shit when you old bastards were getting talked about by the original motherfuckers, by critics back in your day. Don't sit there and shit on fucking on movies, on Marvel or DC. You know what I mean? This proves what Marvel has done, and over the last 6 or 7 decades, and DC has done. They are telling stories. They're bringing emotion. They're bringing social commentary. That's what they're fucking doing. Don't sit there and fucking act like assholes.
Yeah, really.
These are real movies. They're not roller coasters, as you say, Mr. Scorsese. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
If you guys got a problem with what I'm saying about that, I don't care. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. If you don't like an opinion, fine. I don't fucking care. I do not care.
Whatever.
But, yeah. Because, I just don't care.
Yeah.
I think that Marvel movies are not roller coasters. They're not roller coaster rides like Mr. Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola or any of these other fucking people want to have you believe. They are cinema. And if you don't like, you could take that shit to the bank. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that shit. We are going to give you guys one more review for tonight, and then I'm going to give you guys my review for my reaction to the new Grudge. They made another one again, so let's see how that one turns out.
Yeah.
I'm as always Mr. Grandphone 2 with Dark Knight 97, and we'll see you all in the afterlife. Peace.